Let me begin by sharing a short story with you. When I was a 5-year-old child, beginning to lose my eyesight, I remember standing in front of my teacher, holding a book, struggling to read the printed page. The teacher slapped me across my face, even though she knew I was not pretending, even though she knew that the slap would damage my already weakening eyes. Other well wishers suggested that I be sent to a school for, and I quote, mentally retarded children. 25 years later, today, I stand here not to lament or dwell on my past. I stand here because exclusion like this is not confined to history. It's not just my story. Exclusion like this plays out every day and continues to describe the plight of the children who stand at the margins of the system we are all here to transform. So if we are truly ready to act for early years, especially for children with disabilities, then we must confront how exclusion often begins before development services even start. In 2015, the Sustainable Development Goals, through Target 4.2, committed to ensuring that all boys and girls have access to early childhood development and pre-primary education by 2030. But in 2021, UNICEF published a report that should stop us all in our tracks. It paints a global picture of persistent exclusion. There are over 240 million children with disabilities in the world. And when compared to their non-disabled peers, children with disabilities are 34% more likely to be stunted, 25% more likely to be wasted, 53% more likely to have symptoms of an acute respiratory infection, 25% less likely to receive early stimulation and care, 25% less likely to attend early childhood education, and consequently, 41% more likely to feel discriminated against. Here in our region, the disparities are even sharper. Asia and the Pacific is home to 108 million children with disabilities, nearly half of the global total. UNICEF's latest data from 14 countries in the region highlights disparities amongst more than 30 indicators, from nutrition to early learning, violence, protection, and access to services. But these disparities exist not because children have disabilities. These exist because children with disabilities are still the invisible children in data, in planning, and far too often in the very systems meant to support their development. Early childhood development is about pre-primary education, health, nutrition, safety, responsive caregiving, and stimulation, all of which are harder to access for children with disabilities when systems are not designed to include them. Inevitably, then, in too many places, children with disabilities remain invisible across every one of these domains. And this is not just about access or attendance. It's about justice. It's about recognizing that inclusion in early childhood is not a bonus or a luxury. It is foundational. And yet, too often, we would find inclusion becoming that magical word which appears in every policy, in every strategy, right after the phrase, if resources permit. We talk about it. We write about it. We commit to it in blueprints. But we simply forget to implement it. Early years are not only about learning the alphabet or playing with clocks. They are about shaping identity, confidence, empathy, and belonging. 90% of a child's brain develops before the age of 5. And that's true for all children, including those with disabilities. Inclusion in early childhood does not only benefit children with disabilities, it helps all children understand that diversity is part of the social fabric. And this is why early childhood inclusion is not just a moral imperative, it's a social investment. And still, the challenges are real and interconnected, and so must our solutions be as systemic. So, how do we ensure that inclusion does not become like an elevator in some government buildings, promised in every blueprint, rarely found working? We need to, 1, make inclusion explicit in all early childhood policies and budgets. We have the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and the Sustainable Development Goals. But here's the paradox. Article 24 on education from the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities does not mention early childhood education or early childhood development. Target 4.2 of the SDGs omits children with disabilities. And that silence trickles down in national policies, curricula, and teacher training. Moreover, in many countries, services for children with disabilities are delivered separately, either through the health or the welfare sector. And allow me to tell you, that is not inclusion. That is segregation, politely disguised as support. Second, finance must follow inclusion and not the other way around. Despite strong evidence that investing in the early years yields greater social and economic benefits, reduces inequalities, and builds more resilient societies, governments globally spend less than 2% on early childhood education or early childhood development programs, and even less on inclusion. And this is not just a budget line, it's a value statement. We know the broader context is difficult. Education aid is shrinking, and globally, early childhood education receives just 1.2% of the education budget. But when we call for 10% of education aid for inclusive early childhood, we are not being unrealistic. We are being strategic. Because exclusion now will cost us far more later. Third, strengthen the early childhood workforce. Inclusion begins with the people children interact with every day: teachers, healthcare workers, caregivers. But many are simply not trained in inclusive practices, early identification of disabilities. And so inclusion must be embedded in pre-service and in-service training and not treated as an optional skill. We must have the data. We cannot plan for what we do not measure. In many countries, there is no reliable data on children with disabilities under 5. And the fear of mislabeling often leads to no labeling at all. But invisibility is not neutrality. When children are invisible in data, They are invisible in policies. Families and communities must be part of the solution. Many parents of children with disabilities keep their children at home, not because they don't care, but because they don't know support exists, or feel ashamed, or have simply been told that their child does not belong. Inclusive ECD programs must therefore also invest in awareness, dignity, and partnership building. Learning through play must be accessible. We know that children thrive when they learn through play. But in many countries, children with disabilities did not have access to adaptive toys, inclusive materials, or books in accessible format. Even where play is part of the curriculum, it's often designed for the typical child. And this brings me to a simple truth. Inclusion is not expensive. Exclusion is. And the funny thing is, children already understand inclusion. It's the adults who seem to be needing a refresher course, probably with some crayons and snack breaks. Yeah? When done right, inclusion makes systems stronger. It prepares communities to embrace diversity from the beginning. And it builds futures not defined by pity or policy gaps, but by equity, dignity, and belonging. We are now less than 5 years away from the 2030 deadline of the Sustainable Development Goals. And we know that exclusion in early childhood often means exclusion for life. The children we fail to include in the first 5 years will spend the next 50 navigating exclusion, discrimination, and diminished opportunity. And that is not the world we promised them. We cannot wait for more research, more pilots, more perfectly aligned systems. We cannot wait until children are ready to be included because it's the system that needs to be ready, not the child. We cannot wait for the next generation of policymakers to act because the generation of children we fail today will pay the price tomorrow. So let's build systems that recognize all children, not as statistics, not as burdens, not as symbols of charity, but as rights holders, as contributors, and as full and equal members of society. Children with disabilities deserve the opportunity to thrive, not despite their disability, but alongside it. Early childhood development is not just the start of development, it's the start of equity. And I caution, if we get it wrong, we get everything else that follows wrong. I encourage everybody to join the World's Act for Early Years campaign, regional networks on early childhood development, and the many partners working to make inclusion a reality. And if there's just one thing we all leave this conference remembering, one truth we carry to our next program, our next policy meeting, our next budget, let it be this. Inclusion cannot wait. Thank you.